Okay, hello everyone. My name is Stephanie Knechtly, and I'm going to show you how to use Enscape today. So Enscape3D.com is a good place to go for any questions you might have about Enscape, as well as downloading it, and it kind of has a good slew of video tutorials as well on their website. So this program works with Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, ArchiCAD, and Vectorworks, but today I'm going to show it to you in Rhino. Most of the interface is consistent between the different softwares, but there are a few differences. So this is a sample file that Enscape had to record, and I'm just going to show you kind of the interface of it. So to start Enscape, you would type in Enscape start command. So I've already done that, and it will pop up in a browser like this. So basically the Enscape interface is a real-time rendering of your project. So any change that you would make in the actual Rhino file will show up real time in Enscape. So this is really good if you have like some design changes you want to make, or you're just kind of trying to work through your process quickly. It kind of shows you exactly what's going on in the actual project. So say I were to find where I am in this project. So if you were to delete anything in your model, your actual model, it would update it real time in your Enscape, just like that. So this is the Enscape browser. Once you have it pulled up and you kind of have the changes that you already know that you wanted to make made, I'm just going to go around how you would move around, change the lighting, render, all those things, and then I'll also go into some material editing as well. So you can set up views in here and click through them for easy viewing. So say I wanted another view over to look like this, you could just say create view and then name it a name and get back to it easily later. This little question bar shows you exactly how you move around. So if you push W, you can walk forward, A to the left, over here, D to the right, S back. You also can just double click on a space you want to go to. So if you wanted to get towards these people, you could just double click on them and you'd zoom right towards them. Rotate, you would just click on your left cursor and orbit yourself around just to view with your feet stuck in the same spot. And then once you kind of have a view that you want, if you click Shift and then hold down your right cursor and then move left or right, you can change the time of day. As you can see in the right bottom, tells you the time of day. So you can kind of decide what kind of shadow conditions you want, and kind of pick what you think looks the best that way. Then you also can go to visual settings up here with this eyeball. And this has a lot of different customizations you can make for your actual model viewing. I'll go into something in the courtyard, kind of show you. So right here is different modes. None is just normal rendering using the materials that you've set in the model. But what's also good is they have this white mode. White mode's really good for the beginning stages of a project when you don't want to have to worry about all the materiality and you just want the forms to really stand through. And then you also can change the outlines to make them look kind of hand-drawn or more realistic without the outlines. Kind of pick what makes sense for the project on that. There's also polystyrol, which kind of uses the lighting conditions. It almost makes it look like it's made out of clay. And then there's light view that shows you in Lux the most intense points of light. So this is really interesting if you're trying to figure out how well lit your space is. And then if you change the time of day, you can see that it also changes how much sun versus artificial lighting you're putting into the building. So that's a good design tool as well. And then once again, none is just using the materials that you've set up in the model. So this has a bunch more lines than you would see originally. And then, so more realistic would be without the outlines. And then kind of more sketchy with the larger outlines. The other thing is the field of view. So I try to keep it at around 75 usually. If you're in a really small space, sometimes it's good to go a little farther, but you do have to kind of pay attention to this because it can make it look really warped. So that's why I usually keep it at 75. So it just depends. If you had a very tight spot and you wanted to see more of the room, then you could kind of go up a little bit more than that, or if you wanted to be really close in or something like that. But I think 75 is usually what I would do. The exposure kind of adjusts the lighting levels in the space. So if you needed it to be brighter or darker, that's one way of changing it. That's not changing the time of day, just kind of giving you a brighter image. Same with the saturation. I mean, if you wanted it to be more saturated for a presentation, that's easy. Or black and white. Color temperature would kind of adjust maybe the lighting color temperature in your space. Lens flare gives it, these are all like different photo qualities. So bloom kind of makes it a little bit fuzzier at the lighting area. Vignette gives you that kind of like older Polaroid look. Another important one is the atmosphere. So the sun brightness you can adjust. When it's nighttime, you can adjust the night sky brightness as well. As you can see, like these artificial lights are really blowing out the image, so you can adjust the artificial light brightness in that way, and then also the ambient brightness. If we go back to a light view, you can also adjust the wind intensity for videos or when you're moving real time throughout the space. So the intensity of the wind can really, you can see this tree really shakes a lot when the wind is set to 100% intensity. But for images, obviously that doesn't super affect your image, but it will affect if you did a video. The sky. So this one I use a lot as well. So say you are trying to do an exterior rendering, looking out into this view. this forest background looks like you are really high up looking out over a large plain. And then you also can do this rotate, and it'll just kind of scrub the image background. So you could be like purely in the woods here, or more of an overlook setting there. There's also a desert, mountains, construction site, a town. You can see the options there. Urban environment. You can see all the buildings out there. White cubes, in case you want to look like you're in, especially if you're using white mode, white cubes might be interesting just to kind of get the scale of other buildings around you. And then just white ground. So if I was using, back again, white mode here, and you just wanted, maybe you want an exterior, I'll go here, an exterior view. Maybe you want an axon. So if I did a white mode with a desert background, it looks very out of place and not to scale like that. So in this case, I would do a clear, I'd do a white background so that you can kind of use that like axon. That's a good way to just have a completely blank background for any view. It could be for, if you wanted to put your own background in, you could use it on the normal mode. And then, let's see, not too familiar with this file. But so if you wanted to Photoshop your own view, so white background would be good for in that case. Okay, so if we go back to, say, a forest, let me turn off white background. You also can adjust the density of the clouds. This is another easy way to adjust lighting levels in the space as well. Or cloud coverage, obviously you're gonna have less dramatic shadows and lighting effects. So you can adjust the density. You also can adjust the variety of cloud coverage and the different types, the surface amount, the contrails. You can change the longitude and latitude of your space, kind of adjusting those as well. So this is super amazing to be able to do this so quickly, and I mean the foliage and everything is really pretty accurate. And then for actually rendering an image, say I have a, once I set up this this view here, and I adjust my lighting levels. Maybe I want it to be just a little bit of outline, so you can see kind of the difference in materials a little bit clearer there. I want it to be a little bit brighter. I'll change the exposure. And here in output, you can select the resolution of your space, and then also if you're going to do any Photoshop work, this is a really important button to have clicked. I'll show you what that does in a minute. And then the default folder. So say I just want to send it to my desktop, it'll always remember to go to whatever folder that you designed for that particular project. So once you have everything set, you can click this button, screenshot, and that's how you take a render. Enscape is super fast at rendering. It's a little bit slower than normal because I'm recording this video, but in general, super fast comparatively. And you've already decided the lighting qualities and the materials and everything that you wanted in the real-time rendering. which I think really speeds up the process of rendering capabilities. So once we know where they are, if you click into them, so this would be the image that I just rendered. This is the depth view, the material ID, the object ID. So this is all really important, good information to have if you're doing photoshopping. You just open up all these in one file, and then you could click easily on different objects if you wanted to change materials. This is super easy. If you wanted to change all of the material, you can select color range and pick this pink color if you wanted to change all those columns to be a different material later. And then this is really good for adjusting brightness and contrast levels in your rendering. But as you can see, if you take the time to put in the materials that you want and the entourage that I'll show you how to do, the people, the plants, it does a really, really good job rendering accurately, so you don't have to spend too much time photoshopping if you didn't want to down the road. So, what else? So I was going to show you how you would place people or plants or something. So if you go into Enscape, open Asset Library, it'll open up this box. And they have tons of accessories. As crazy as little wine glasses and little staplers, and a ton of things there. They have animals, construction equipment, tons of furniture, some butterflies, flamingos. Birds are really good for those exterior renderings. You don't have to Photoshop those in, or cute little puppy dogs. Lots of different people too. They have a variety of different people doing different activities. As you can see, their faces are a little creepy, but from far away, or even if you just place one person and you're rendering to give yourself a scale, then you can easily add more people in through Photoshop or something easy like that. Especially from the behind or from far away, I think they're wonderful. They just get a little creepy if you try to get too close to them. They look a little strange. But they have tons of people, little waiters. They're pretty culturally diverse, which is awesome. Biking, singing, going to the pool, lounging, rubbing sunscreen on themselves. I got tons of different people here. And they also have vehicles, sports props. I'm going to show you vegetation, which I think is pretty important. They have tons of different bushes, topiaries, grasses, flowers, rocks, big trees. And they are 3D rendered, like you can go around them. They're not going to be a flat image. So I'll show you, I'll put this plant in. So you just click on it. You click on your target surface. You can find something. Do that again. Then click and it will come out into your thing. So now I have to find where I just put it. Let's see. So it's right here. So that's the same way you would put in people, furniture, anything through this library. You just click on the surface that you'd want to put it on and then click on it and it pops up. So as you can see, you can go around this object completely and it's 3D rendered, and you don't have to worry about it being a flat image that you have to kind of work around later. Yeah, so lots of different things in here to play with. And then obviously you can build anything you would want in Rhino as well. Any Rhino object or thing that you would find on a Rhino asset library somewhere else, you can put in and just change the materials in the actual Rhino file. And those will also come up. So another important thing I wanted to talk about is materiality. So if you go to Enscape, open material editor command. So if you click on any object, you click on, say, the floor, it's coming from this EnscapeTutorial material. So if we go back to the Enscape material editor, we go to EnscapeTutorial and click on it. We can change anything about the actual material in here. So you can make it, say, orange. In real time, it will change it in your model. Normally, I would have this up in two separate screens, so you can kind of work with it at the same time. For showing purposes, I don't have that set up, but so you can change the tint color. This is coming from a texture. It's just a seamless texture that you can find off of Google, and you just add it in here. You can change the brightness or darkness of that material. You can change self-illumination, will make it light up. You can make it transparent. The bump map gives it a texture, so if you made it a higher bump, it will increase how much texture the actual floor has, and vice versa. And the reflections as well. You can make it extremely reflective. And it will make it kind of like a mirror ball finish. There's just a lot of customizations you can make once you put in the material. And like I said, I would normally have it, say like a split screen. So I would be making those changes and looking at it real time. Playing with that. I think that's super important when you're rendering. You know exactly what you're going to get, which is really nice. So, like I said, you can make it red and it's immediate how it updates. Same process. If you wanted to make a new material, you would just a new Enscape material, and then you could name it something, and then open back up Enscape, open material editor, find that, and then you can use one of their default things, or you could create your own by importing your own texture like that. I do want to show you the grass is its own material as well. So this is the grass. So in this, you can change the color of the grass. Obviously, you probably don't want red, but you could kind of change the tone of green grass. You can change the height of the grass. This is really important when you're doing like a really far away rendering. You can kind of dramatize how large the grass is so you can get that texture from far away. Or if you're close up, you kind of probably want it to be more accurately to scale. You also can change the height variation to kind of give it a more natural look. The same thing with water. We've got some water. I love the way Enscape does the water. If you go to water here, you can change the scale, the height of the waves. You can change the tone of the water, like that. And the scale of it. I'll make it more realistic and then I'll show you in a bigger view. But it really looks exactly like water. It's pretty accurate. And I like the way it moves with the wind. Yeah, so that's materials. And like I said, if you had any questions about how I'm moving around the space, if you go to this little question mark, it'll give you kind of a rundown. But when in doubt, you can always use View Manage and click through the different views and then easily just use your left cursor to just stay in the same spot but look around, and then or double click to go from one point to another. There's also panoramic capabilities and capabilities for video editing. You can go to this video editor to kind of play around with that. But there's lots of capabilities with VR as well. I don't think we need to get into all of that, but there is over here, learn video tutorials, a ton more professional video tutorials for all the different workflows you might need. There's Revit, which is what I usually use, Rhino, Vectorworks, ArchiCAD, and SketchUp. It's pretty much the same Enscape interface, but different ways to get to those things through the different programs. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks.